Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to D News Plus again today for episode 3 of 3 in our series on gold. Yes, it's only 3 episodes this week. I apologize for that. We're just doing a short series this week. Got a lot going on. Don't you worry. I'm Trace, by the way. If you haven't tuned in to D News Plus before, this is a show where we take big topics and we break them down so everybody understands it a bit better. Make sure you go back and listen to the first parts of this series where we talked about gold and what it is exactly and where it came from and how it proves to be so valuable and why we used it for currency and trade. It's pretty cool. Today, though, we're going to talk about what it can be used for besides those things. Because even though it was valuable, no one would ever believe that they would ever want to use it for something scientific until we got a lot of it. So let's kick into it. Gold is mainly associated with, of course, jewelry and decorations and ancient statues and Olympic medals and so on and so on. Of course, just sidebar, hang on. Gold medal's not actually solid gold. I just want to point that out. Not since the 1912 Olympics. They're actually silver plated with gold. So you're really getting a silver medal with just a little gold on the outside. But anyway, that end sidebar. Gold is actually way more useful and way more versatile. Gold ain't just a pretty face. That's what I'm trying to say. The biggest use for gold is, of course, jewelry. 78% of gold mined every year is used in jewelry. And we know why, because if you listen to the last episode, if you haven't, go back and check it out. But if you have, you know, shiny, durable, easy to mold, rare but not too rare, and sometimes used with other metals. White gold is gold, silver, copper, and palladium. Yellow gold is gold, silver, and copper. But it's also a popular material for electronics and technology. The 3 most electrically conductive elements are silver, copper, and gold. But gold is used the most because silver tarnishes much more easily. Gold has a higher corrosion resistance, meaning that if you go to the store and you get, a gold-plated HDMI cable or something, as much as that doesn't really matter, it more matters with analog technology than digital, the gold will be more reliable. There is gold in your cell phone, about 3/5 of a pound if you put a ton of cell phones together. There is also gold in calculators and laptops and televisions. And this has opened up a whole new market for people who want to take your used electronics and break them down and take all the precious metals out of them. In a metric ton of e-waste, there is 8 to 16 ounces of gold. That's a lot. That's a half a pound to a pound of gold. But, of course, it's dangerous. To get that gold out of there, you have to use harmful chemicals. Things like hard drives and motherboards have to be put into acid so that everything dissolves except the gold. But when you burn or dissolve electronics, the acid doesn't eat it. It's not like little gremlins eat the hard drive, right? It burns and dissolves and releases harmful fumes. But the VTT Technical Research Center of Finland, they found a way to extract gold from e-waste using algae and fungi. Check it out. It's pretty cool. But of course, you know a lot of this. You've probably been to a store and seen a gold-plated headphone plug or something. But did you know that gold is also used in medicine? See, gold, again, doesn't corrode. It doesn't tarnish particularly. It doesn't react with your body either. And it's used for things like pacemakers and stents for the same reason it's used in cell phones and computers. It's reliable, but also because gold shows up on x-rays, which is really important when you're putting things inside of people's bodies. Doctors can also use gold to treat prostate cancer. They take gold grains and they insert them into the prostate. And then they use x-rays to find the gold grains, which gives the exact location of the prostate. It's very efficient. It's like a little stain on a slide, if you will. People also inject or ingest gold for treatments. Gold salt injection was used as far back as the early 1900s to treat arthritis, or the swelling from it anyway. This isn't, of course, pure gold, but a gold compound. It just contains gold. And people still get joint treatment to help fight joint pain and swelling. Doctors, though, aren't exactly sure why or how this gold seems to help, and it doesn't seem to work for everyone, and of course there are side effects. There's researchers at Rice University that are injecting people with gold-wrapped spheres. The spheres are smaller than a blood cell, and the point is they go to a patient's cancer tumor, and then they can shoot it with infrared light. The gold absorbs the heat, the tumor's temperature goes up, deforms, shrivels, and disintegrates. It's like a little Trojan horse It gets in there and you can shoot the gold to heat that mineral up. Nanoparticles of gold get injected into cancer patients, so they also gather inside tumors. They've been seen to act as antennas so they can concentrate radiation. That helps focus that so patients get the treatment where it's needed and not all over the place. They want to be more efficient, and the gold is helping that because it doesn't react with our body. It doesn't make us sick. It isn't toxic. Gold is also used to treat something called lagophthalmos. That is the inability to close one's eyes. Tiny gold weights are implanted, this is weird, but it's true, in eyelids, because then eyelids are a little heavier. In the journal AIDS, an arthritis drug containing gold was seen helping fight HIV-infected CD4 cells, or T cells. This stopped them from reproducing. However, the study was done with only 6 monkeys, so more research is needed, obviously. And of course, this is D News Plus, and I'm Trace, and I love space, so we have to talk about how gold is used in space. Now, as we've mentioned throughout this, gold is very malleable. It's easy to shape. You can make it very small without breaking it. It's not particularly brittle. It sticks together very well, but it's also reflective and shiny, right? So that sounds perfect to coat things in space. It helps reflect solar heat and radiation. It helps maintain temperature. It also absorbs a lot of light. So what they do is they coat satellites in these very thin gold sheets. That way it doesn't have these blinding reflective spots that will distract or harm astronauts. Astronaut visors is a great example of this. They're coated in a thin gold layer to help reflect the sun's rays, but also to keep the temperature down inside of the suit. NASA sent a gold-plated record out to find aliens. It's a copper disc, but it's covered in gold. It's called the Gold Record. On the record is sounds of birds and whales and thunder and animals and music, greetings in 55 languages, and a set of instructions printed upon there on how to play it, including the cartridge and the needle. So if an alien ever found it, they could basically build a record player, because they don't have like hipster record stores in alien communities, I imagine, yet, until we gentrify them. And of course, some people eat gold. Not in the ingestible, this may help my sickness way, but in the I'm super rich kind of way. Gold has no flavor, it has no vitamins, it has no nutrients. However, it doesn't react with your body, so you can just eat it and have gold poop, essentially. There is so much gold on Earth, but there is only so much gold, right? There's so much gold. There's a lot of it, but we only have some of it. So given the choice, I think I'd personally rather save gold for NASA equipment and electronics and medicines and things that it actually might be useful for, like things in space and whatever, rather than making gold poop or little trinkets that I put around my fingers to make people happy. But that's just my opinion. Let us know down in the comments what you think about gold, and if you learned something about gold in this series, hopefully you did. You can also find us over on Twitter if you have questions or comments about the show. You can tweet at me at Trace Dominguez or at DNews. Just make sure you use the hashtag DNewsPlus so we know what you're talking about. And thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on DNews Plus.